Why are we feeding our kids crap? This has got to stop. Up to 70% of your children's calories are ultra-processed foods. These refined sugars, starches, and seed oils are literally destroying your child's brain. When you get a chicken McNugget classified as a nutrient-dense food, or a French fried classified as a vegetable, we have a problem. After many months of searching, I stumbled on a school that is doing it right. It's an amazing organization called School of Lunch, where a small group of volunteers developed an incredible training program that is literally going to spread around the United States and around the world. Today, we're going to interview the founder, Hilary Boynton, which they call the Lunch Lady. Tell me briefly your story, how you gotten into the position that you're in right now.
Well, it was really through my own health journey and my family's health journey that I ventured into becoming a lunch lady. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I'd be there, but here we are. From in my own infertility to having 5 kids and with various issues from eczema to epilepsy and speech delays, whatnot, and then a husband with cancer, a father with Alzheimer's disease. Ultimately, our cancer journey brought us from Massachusetts to California, where we landed in this small little mountain town in Los Angeles. And the school there aligned completely with the my philosophy around food and how I had healed my family. And I was all in. And then as the school grew, they outsourced the food, and that's when I stepped in and said, "This is not aligned with my beliefs and how nature intended for us to eat." And so I stepped in as the snack coordinator and the consultant to the lunch lady, and then halfway through the school year, I was given the keys to the kitchen, and, it was almost like the universe was like, "Here you go, girl, like, take the keys and show what's possible." So I got my foot in the door and, decided to just show what's possible, and here we are almost a decade in.
I've been looking for a long time for some type of program out there, someone that's doing it right in the school system, and I couldn't find anything. And then I stumbled on your site. I'm like, what the heck? This is amazing. So I'm pulling up now just pictures of the types of meals that you're serving these kids. And it looks like, you're doing traditional food. I know it's not completely low carb, but you're soaking the grains, soaking the seeds, getting rid of certain things that can interfere with digestion. Sauerkraut, organ meats, grass-fed meat from local farms. Incredible. I mean, if I would have lived on this food growing up, things would have been a lot better, believe me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really does come down to the quality and also mm, that connection to our food and our local food system. We're sourced 80 to 85% of our foods from our local food system. And when I had my, you know, switch flipped when I was fat free and fell for all that propaganda, when I saw how traditionally, across the globe, cultures were thriving free of disease and studying their diets, much like the work of Dr. Weston A. Price, my eyes were opened and I was just like, wow, this totally makes sense. And I've been duped my whole life. And through our journey on the GAPS diet as a family, and I wrote a cookbook called the Heal Your Gut Cookbook. I understood the gut brain and the gut body connection and how we're so out of balance. It's about that nutrient density. We have their stomachs for 6 hours a day. That's 30% of a kid's meals across the year. So we have a massive opportunity to make a difference in the trajectory of their health. Imagine a 5-year-old being fed this way all the way up until they graduate.
What type of effects is it creating either in a child's ability to learn, focus, their mood?
The very first year we started, we did a little video documentary on it, and unprompted, this little 6th grade kid said, "I used to feel like this up and down all day long, and now I just feel like this." And I was like, my jaw dropped. I was just like, "That's it. That's our 30-second commercial." That's what I mean. These kids, they know what it feels like to feel terrible, but that's their norm, right? And so when all of a sudden they're given foods that feel good and are properly absorbed and digested, they just feel even and steady. So we see kids engaged and happy and joyful, and teachers are also participating. So they're alongside these kids as mentors, eating the same foods, and then they're returning back to the classroom together, satiated and satisfied. I think that's the biggest thing is, like, especially being fat free forever, I was like never satisfied. And when you have, proper amounts of protein and fats, like good saturated fats, you're satisfied.
I reflect back on my kids. So they're all over the age of 30 right now. So that was 30 years ago. So I remember, trying to force my daughter in the car. She didn't want to go to school. But this whole thing was like, a blood sugar issue. That's all it was. I knew nothing about nutrition. I wish I could go back in time because if I would have known what I know now, it would have been a game changer with their mood, their ability to remember and learn.
These little kids are, having their light bulbs turned on and, their cells are all like, woo, happy. And they're going home and reporting back and saying like, the school food, mom, can you make food like Miss Hillary or can you make sauerkraut? And the parents are awakening, right? And so it's really cool because then we bring the parents in and for parents at lunch and introduce them to what we're doing. And that's what needs to happen because parents just don't know and schools don't know. So it takes a dedicated, army of chefs who are going to show up every day. And I think it's like basically the coolest job in the world. And that's what I want to spark within like people who are graduating from culinary school or registered dietitians, nutritionists who are like wanting to make a change. Like what better place to be able to make a lasting change than to dive into a school system and get to these kids really young.
But what you're doing, you took it one step further. You developed a training program to teach other schools, other chefs of how to do this, right?
As we went along and I saw the changes in the teachers and the parents and the kids and everybody wanting more information, I was just like, everyone needs to know this. It's not only school systems, but it's hospitals and churches and community centers. Like, you just do whatever you can do to get this message wherever your passion lies. But obviously, school lunches right now is just so hot and so huge. And the opportunity is like right now.
My question is, why isn't this in the entire school system? Because we've been trying to get this dietary food guideline thing changed for many, many years, and it's going to take some work to do that. But you're going after a different approach. You're going at the grassroots. The reason why it's not spreading is because you have a very small group of people, volunteers, including yourself, trying to do this on a shoestring budget, which is like no budget. And I'm like, what? Like no one's funding you? Of course, we don't want like big food to fund you, but you're not expanding because you don't have the resources to be able to keep up. Because I know the demand is really high. People want to learn this, but it's just like you only have a few people.
I'm not a money driven person and I can bite you in the butt, I guess, but it's really just been about passion and vision for me and seeing it every day and being in the work with my own kids and doing this for my kids and for the community. And but we're at a point right now where it's apparent that the world needs this. This vision and this mission can't just stay on this little mountaintop in Topanga, California. It needs to be, it needs to go. It needs to go. I can only do so much, right? We are just like a skeleton crew. And so we need the support to get this message out to the masses and to show people that other way. Because once they see it, I know people will gravitate towards it because it just makes sense. It's the way we evolved to eat as humans, right? It's the way we've been eating for millennia, until this industrialization and ultra processed foods came in. This is the way we lived and thrived free of disease. And this is what everybody ultimately wants for their children, right? So we need to make videos. We need to make toolkits because what happens is people get trained, but then they are back in the system as the lone soldier, right? So they need support and they need those continued resources to keep them going. And then we need the kits for the schools. The school, the superintendent, an enlightened superintendent can do a lot of things, but most of them don't know, right? So they need to see what's possible and they need to know the why and they need to hear it from people that have done it and that it is possible because there's so many barriers to entry for them. There's so much nuance with every school. I've always said, like, I can't change a million schools, but I can train a million people because every school has their own issues. So you want the people that are passionate about that school and are going to dive in and pull apart what needs to change to make that program successful. So we really just we need the support. I'm humbly asking because I just believe so wholeheartedly that we're at a moment in, humanity where our children are so sick that it's a time, like we can't keep going the way we're going and we have this traction. So it's like, let's go.
I want to get behind. I want to actually help you as well. I know you have a GoFundMe account. We'll put that link down below, but I'm going to help you, and my followers are going to help you. In fact, I'm going to ask them right now to flow something, anything to help support what you guys are doing because you need a lot of resources. You need staff. You need promotional materials. You need to have more people so you can actually have an army of trainers so we can actually make a dent. Those of you that are watching now, if you can flow something to this, anything, we'd really appreciate it because I'm personally going to help, but we need a lot of people to help out to give you guys support because what you're doing is strictly on purpose. And I want to get behind that. So, I mean, this is just amazing.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I do believe, the power of social media and that my message can go instantly. That's what's the blessing of technology and social media is that, once that momentum gets going, um, a spark can, ignite so many people. And I just believe people are craving this information and you don't have to be sick. The body will heal. This isn't just about our children, but it's about our children's children. We want these kids to be giving birth to a healthy next generation of kids and to understand that they have agency over that.
We have all this money, we have the worst outcomes, and we have the doctor right in the center. Okay. And they're diagnosing, but they're not factoring in food as part of their evaluation. They're just omitting that piece of data, right? And then we have the junk food industry that's pumping all this junk through there. Over 50% of adults, over 60% of children and teenagers are consuming ultra processed food, and they're getting problems, health problems that are treated by big pharma. So this whole system revolves around this one single omission, the omission of actual real food. Like right now, there's a movement called food is medicine. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Food is medicine. It sounds really great, right? Food is medicine. Doesn't really talk about food until you dig deep into what they're recommending. And so I looked at their food is medicine and they're recommending certain proteins. They recommend a lot of starches. Their desserts, apple cobbler, mac and cheese, Cheerios, cereal. We're just basing everything on the existing dietary guidelines. So again, this is not going to work.
I think we need to give kids credit too, right? They're smart. And so when you give them the information and you give them that feeling of what it feels like to feel good. They want that. They want to feel good, right? I mean, we had a kid who came in fourth grade, failure to thrive. His mom was like all distraught, and she had actually had my cookbook, but didn't realize I was the lunch lady at her kid's school. I was like, wow. So, we talked, and I supported the kid and looked after him, and lots of bone broths and just really things that were easy on his gut. And, now he's like 6'2", a junior or so, 10th or 11th grade in high school, and he's thriving. And it didn't take long. It was just, and I would source foods for her and get her organ meats and different cuts of meat so that she can make meat stocks and stuff so that communication and that connection with the mom and the care that went into this child just quickly turned him around. And now he knows those diagnoses that kids have don't have to be for life. Like, it's just so powerful when you give the kids and the parents the tools to fuel the body correctly. You can't just take 3 seconds with a kid and shove them through the line and put foods, fresh fruits and vegetables on there and think this is going to change the whole trajectory of their health. I just don't believe that. I think we're really needing to connect.
I've been practicing for 30 years. And so the first question I ask every single person coming in, kids and adults, is you come in with a problem. What are you eating? What are you eating? We don't ask that, but I don't think people appreciate the connection between what you're eating and these diagnoses, ADD or attention deficit disorder, like all these different mental disorders. They don't connect them with foods, right? They get a label. Even kids are becoming more depressed nowadays. It's like you shouldn't be depressed as a child, and that can lead to drugs and addictions and taking more medications. And so as we get older, you can see the end result of this: a person in a nursing home on 48 different medications. That's where we're going if we don't stop this. I know it's not easy. It takes a lot of energy, right, to be able to do all what you're doing. Like, it's not just a quick thing. You have to go find the food, you have to learn about it, you have to cook it, prepare it, and then you're teaching other people how to do it. So I mean, I'm just like blown away.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think the other thing that we're doing that is a disservice to our children is that these diagnoses are, kind of just their lot in life, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're just going to be on medication. My
Yeah.
child with eczema, I was like, oh, I'll probably have asthma, eczema, allergies that just run hand in hand. He might outgrow it, he might not. I put him on raw milk and cod liver oil, and he's completely healed. And I was just like, what? Food just healed my child.
Right.
So it's understanding the power of food and the power and the agency that we have. And so getting to that root cause is so important. And much of that does lie with what we're putting into our bodies.
I've spotted this as something that's super, super important. You have it right. Cause I'm like, wow, I looked at a lot of different programs. Like I didn't find anything that comes even close to what you guys do. And then to find out you have a training program, I'm like, I'm going to get behind that. Please donate if you can, anything that would be great. And then
Thank you.
what we'll do is we'll come back again, look at the success and the effects of our donations and how they help you guys expand because we need this to expand all over the world because if I'm not going to wait for the next food pyramid. We got to do something right now.
Any support, we truly appreciate it. The training academies are life changing. I'm literally like, 100% money back guarantee if your life isn't changed forever. You just get it. So I'm really excited to get this message out to your followers, and thank you so much for sharing our message. And any support is just greatly appreciated. I really believe, like you said, now is the time, and we can't wait. It's just time. Our children need us.
Awesome. Thank you very much.